Welcome back to DS Trucks. It's been a few months now. I got like 6,500, I think, on this truck on the 23 F450 with high output diesel. And I just want to talk about the truck today. This thing has been such a conversation piece. Every single chance that someone gets to talk to me about this truck, they stop me and talk to me. I went to the gas station yesterday, and it was like at one stop for diesel fuel, I had two guys walk up to me and ask me about this truck. At one gas station, at one trip for fuel, two times I was approached about this truck. Wait a second, let me grab a water before I go. So I get asked about the truck two times. Hopefully I'm saying that word right, ask. That's one of the hard things for me to say, apparently. It's like, man, you're not saying that right, ask. You're saying ax. I don't know. But two people stopped me to talk to me about the truck. And it was funny because it was in one gas station. One guy got out of his F-150, walked up to me and started chatting with me about my truck. And it's like kind of weird. It's almost like a level of fame a little bit, even though I'm not by any means famous. I hardly ever get recognized. I don't have a huge following on YouTube, just a few followers, nothing crazy. But it's interesting. I'm just headed to the bank anyway, so it's interesting. Got important text. It is interesting to see that so many people will stop and talk to me about this truck. So the guy gets out of his F-150, walks up to me, and he's like, yeah, I noticed the front end looks a little more beefy, and it's kind of interesting. And it's like, man, I never knew. I mean, I didn't know that this thing was going to be this freaking popular. People think that I'm like the biggest contractor. They're like, what do you do? Like, nothing. I mean, I just do YouTube. I just got the truck, put as much down as I could. It really does come off as $100,000 truck. It has that persona, but it's not $100,000 truck by any means. It's a $86,000 truck, which is still a lot of money. I put down 19.5 to get it, and the payment's like $1,000 a month. So not that crazy, but it has the persona of $100,000 truck, even though it's not. So I would love to have the LED headlights, but I don't see a platinum and just feel like, oh, I got to have me a platinum. I just don't. I don't want a platinum. I don't want a limited. I definitely don't like. I don't know if I like the seats the way they look in a limited. For me, I mean, not that they're bad seats, but they are way too plush and they're white. Like, I don't know if I can get down with that. Like, I gotta have me a black interior for all the. I'll get this thing dirty. My kids are real bad about spilling stuff inside of the truck. They're always spilling all kinds of stuff in the truck. So I've always kind of wanted to keep a vehicle or truck as a conversation piece. You pull up and somebody's like, hey man, nice truck, let's just talk for a minute about your truck. It's kind of weird. I know the first truck that I had, when I saw that truck, I had to have it. I had an all black 2004 GMC Sierra Quadra-steer. So 2500 GMC Sierra Quadra-steer. It was a 2004. So all four wheels of that truck would turn. Like the rear tires would steer and the front tires would steer. It was an '04. It was loaded. Leather, Bose sound, everything. You name it, it had it. And yeah, people would be like, did the back wheels just turn? And that thing could move. It was a crew cab, 6.5 foot bed, and that thing could freaking maneuver. I would love to have that technology again on a truck. Maybe even like, I think it'd be cool if it was a dually, like if all four wheels could turn and it's a dually. I think that'd be cool. But that was one of those technologies that really changed how that truck drove, and it really was a conversation piece. It kind of had bigger hips on it, kind of like a dually, but it wasn't quite a dually. So people were like, what's going on with this truck? Like, it looks so weird. But no, that's the four-wheel steering. Like, it's got to stick out a little bit because it's got four-wheel steering. That thing was probably one of the best trucks that I had, just from the feeling alone. I mean, obviously it's not as good as the 7.3 liter 350 that I got for work, and it's definitely not as good as this 450, but for me, the feeling that I had driving it was so real and so good. Like, I'm so happy that I got this truck. Like, I love everything about this. It's loaded. It's got bows. I love GM at the time, and I had just started at Ford, and I was like, I'm not buying a Ford. I'm getting a GM. And I was like, I'm not getting no EcoBoost F450. And I was working in Dearborn, and I went and got a GMC Sierra 2500, four-wheel drive, four-wheel steering. Like, forget Ford. I really was into the independent front suspension that you got with the GMC, and it was like, I feel like that kind of about the 450. Like, man, this is a nice truck. But, you know, being 23, 24 years old and having that, you know, nice of a truck, it was hard. You know, it was expensive for me. I think the payment was $360 a month, and then the insurance was high, and I struggled with the payment a little. You know, it is what it is. And then the fuel was so high, the gasoline was so expensive that I used to freaking have to walk places and ride my bike, because it would cost me, I remember I had to add it up, like, every single time I go to work, it cost me $15. Like, so at the end of the week, I'm losing this amount of money per week on fuel. I had to sit there and figure it out. So what I had to do, I ended up buying a car just to go to work and having to park my truck. And then I ended up getting a 2004 Grand Prix to complement the truck. And then before I got the Grand Prix, I used to ride my bike everywhere else except for work, because the truck was so much gas. I mean, gas was getting like $4 a gallon at that time, which was like a lot of, I mean, that was a lot more money even than it is today. I mean, that was 10 years ago, $4 a gallon was a lot more. But this 450 though is the biggest conversation piece. Sometimes I think maybe to my detriment. I don't think in this weird economy that we're in, I don't think I sold any job after someone saw this truck. I need to only drive that 350 to get a job. Like, if I show up in this truck, people feel like I'm not going that way right now because I'm trying to be cheaper. The economy is too rough for me to be doing business with a guy with the F450 pickup truck. So that, you know, that's definitely a factor for sure for a lot of the type of work that I do. It's a little bit much. So it's got to kind of almost be my secret for quotes. I'm not really taking this out on quotes. So that's a factor. But yeah, definitely a cool truck, conversation piece. Sparked up a lot of interest. We'll see kind of what happens here with the economy. How weird is, like, every time you turn around there's a new war. Like, oh my goodness, now there's another freaking something or another happening over in another country, Israel or whatever. So times are definitely a little bit scary. We'll see how it pans out. But anyway, guys, I want to wrap this up, I guess. This 450 is definitely a cool conversation piece. I've been enjoying it. I love the way it drives. The steering is a little heavy. That's really one of the complaints. The steering and the Pro Power could be a little better. But it drives down the freeway really good. The higher RPMs from the F450, we're at 67. We're almost at 2,000 RPMs. Not an issue at all. It's still pretty good on fuel when it's at those RPMs. 540 seems to use a little more fuel going to the 540. But the truck drives good. I've been putting the family in here, driving out to, like, movies and dinner and stuff, and we've been having a great time. But anyway, I will wrap this up. My name is Sean. Good to talk to you guys. Hope to see you again in the next one. See you later. Over and out. Bye.